Good morning, students. This is M. Ibrahim, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE. Today's topic, uh, we are going to discuss in today's topic the DC machines and introduction. Let's go into the details. And in this, these are the course objectives of your course. And particularly today we are going to learn the second module, that is DC machines. And at the end of this lecture you will be able to learn certain things. Those are, you will be able to describe the constructional features of DC machine, and you will be able to explain the working principle of DC generator. Right, let's move forward. And this is some interesting picture of this machine, and partially disassembled picture, and you can see the different parts that are there in a DC machine. Right, you can see a shaft and a circular cylindrical type part called yoke, and inside another part which will rotate. Right, let us see these details in detail. Right, basically electric generator, electrical machine, right, can work as a motor as well as a generator. In the first picture of the slide, we can see a battery attached to the circuit, and there is a magnet and there is a coil, right, which will be moved in the field of this magnet, right, when current is supplied from the battery. So this is the electric motor. In the second picture, we can see an electric generator. Right, to the same coil, a fan is connected, or a wind, or a prime mover. That can be a wind, simple wind turbine. Right, when this turbine moves, rotated by a wind, this coil will be moved. Sorry, this coil will be rotated inside of the magnet. Right, so this is a simple picture I want to show you at the beginning of this lecture. Right, so it's a very simple construction. Next, let us move forward. First, I want to give you the classification of electrical machines. As you can see in the slide, types. There are two divisions under the electrical machines. First one is rotating type electrical machines. Second one is stationary type. Under the rotating type electrical machines, there are motors and generators. Under this stationary type electrical machines, there is transformer. Right? In the motors and generators, there are two types. There are two types: one AC motors and generators, and DC motors and generators. Today we are going to discuss this last one, DC motors and generators. That is DC machine in general. So here we can see what a DC machine is. Right? In simple form, we can say that a DC motor takes electrical energy as input and gives mechanical energy as output. So that is what this first picture describes. And the second picture, for the same DC machine, you can give mechanical energy as input, then it gives you electrical energy as output. Right? So this machine is simply it converts DC motor converts electrical energy into mechanical energy, whereas a DC generator converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. So all together, these two are in general called DC machines. DC machine. So the same DC machine you can use as generator when you give mechanical energy, and you can use the same machine as DC motor when you give electrical energy as input to it. Right? Clear? Next, and this slide shows the non-rotating electrical machine, right? So stationary electrical machine. So here under that category we have seen that only a transformer is there. So the transformer is having no rotating part, right? And another difference of the transformer from other rotating machines is that its input and as well as output both are electrical energy only, right? And because it is having no rotating part, there will be no rotational loss. That means there is no friction inside of this transformer, and hence as a result there will be no loss of energy. Whereas for every machine, rotating machine, whether you take a generator or motor, you will have rotating parts, and hence there will be friction between the rotating parts and stationary parts. So there will be some loss of electrical energy in the form of heat produced by friction. Clear? Let us move forward. Now we'll go to the working principle. Let us see the working principle, right? So before understanding how a DC machine, particularly DC generator works, one must understand what is magnetic flux and what are the Faraday's laws. That means the Faraday's laws are the uh, laws behind the working principle of DC machine. Let us see the magnetic flux. In this slide, you can see on the left side of left picture of the slide a permanent magnet. On the right side, you can see an electromagnet. What is called an electromagnet, right? So on the left side there is a permanent magnet. You can see south pole and north pole of the electromagnet, and the flux produced by the permanent magnet. Flux produced by the permanent magnet. Those elliptical lines are drawn to represent the magnetic flux lines produced by the permanent magnet, right? So one characteristic, important characteristics of permanent magnet is that the flux produced by it is constant. So this flux is not, the magnitude of the flux is not going to change, right? You know the units of magnetic flux, it is Webers, right? So these lines, right, the area covered by these magnetic flux lines is called field of the electromagnet. It is known to us, right? Next, on the right side of the slide, there is the picture shown is a coil which is carrying a current, right? And this also produces magnetic flux. You can observe the south pole and north pole represented for that electromagnet, right? So the current, when the current passes through the turns of the coil produces magnetic flux, right? So here the important important thing to keep in mind is that if the current supplied to the coil is varied, the flux produced by the coil also varies. We can have a variable flux from this electromagnet. Next, the units of flux are Weber, and the number of turns of the coil are denoted by N, right? The amount of flux produced by permanent magnet is fixed, as I have told earlier, and it cannot be varied. Whereas the flux produced by the current carrying coil can be varied by varying the current supplied to the coil. Next topic, and one should understand before going into the working principle of the DC machine is that the loss behind the machine. So I have kept the simple statement of the Faraday's law. The induced electromotive force in any closed circuit is equal to the negative of the time rate of change of the magnetic flux enclosed by the circuit. For a coil of n turns, the induced EMF is proportional to E proportional to d by dt of phi, where phi stands for flux, magnetic flux measured in Webers, and E is equal to negative of n multiplied by d by dt of phi. So the negative sign indicates that the direction of this induced EMF is opposite to the cause that produced it. So here the n is again the number of turns in the circuit, and phi is flux enclosed by the circuit, and E is the EMF produced in the circuit. So to have an induced EMF, we can understand simply that from the statement of the Faraday's law, to have an induced EMF, one should have a coil with certain number of turns and a flux, a magnetic flux, right? And that too, the magnetic flux should be changing magnetic flux, right? Or we must create change in the magnetic flux by some means. Then only there will be induced EMF in the circuit or in a conductor. In other words, we can simply say that whenever the magnetic flux linking a conductor changes, an EMF will be induced in the conductor. And when the two ends of the conductor are joined by some a bulb or anything else, there will be passage of current through that circuit. Is clear? So we should have a conductor or, or number of certain number of conductors and a flux which we can vary, or a flux which can vary on itself, right? Let's move forward. So Faraday's law, in other words, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction is the basic of electromagnetism, which helps us predict how a magnetic field would interact with an electric circuit to produce an electromotive force. This phenomena is known as electromagnetic induction. So this is really a revolution in the electric industry when this person called Faraday invented this phenomena called electromagnetic induction. All the machines of machines we use, electric motors or generators or transformers, all work on the principle of Faraday's laws. So this person proposed this in the year 1831. He is a physicist and chemist. His full name is Michael Faraday. I think you all know the name of this renowned scientist. Let's move forward. Let us go how the electricity is produced in a generator. See, in this slide again, I have kept a permanent magnet in which a conductor is placed in whose field a conductor is placed. Again, on the right side, electromagnet, and again in the field of this electromagnet also I have kept a conductor. That is this blue line shows it is a conductor, right? Now, in the left picture of the slide, you can see a permanent magnet, and we know that its flux will not change. So when flux will not change, you cannot have d by dt of flux, right? So when d by dt of flux is 0, E is equal to 0, and hence to have induced EMF, we must create d phi by dt, right? So to have a d phi by dt that is linking with this conductor shown in blue color, whether you have to move the magnet or you have to move the conductor, then only the flux lines that are linking this conductor will change. So if you move the conductor, in the field of this permanent magnet, you can have change of flux linking that conductor, or by moving the magnet itself, keeping the conductor stationary and moving the magnet. Also, we can create a d phi by dt, so that we can have induced EMF in the conductor. Here, one important thing is that when you move the conductor and keep the magnet stationary, the corresponding induced EMF is called dynamically induced EMF, because it is induced in a moving conductor. I'm repeating, when you move the conductor and keep the magnet stationary, then the corresponding induced EMF is called dynamically induced EMF. On the other hand, if you keep the stationary conductor stationary and move the magnet so that there will be induced EMF in the conductor, that particular that EMF is called statically induced EMF. Right? Please remember these two terms: dynamically induced EMF and statically induced EMF. Right? Here, coming to the right side picture of the slider, we have an electromagnet in whose field a conductor is placed. Now, if you vary the current passing through the coil, we can create a changing flux. Right? Now, you can keep the conductor stationary and vary the current. Then you can have d by dt of phi. Right? That is rate of change of flux linking the conductor. Right? Now, in this case, whether the electromagnet is neither the electromagnet is moving nor the conductor is moving, and hence this is also called statically induced EMF. This particular principle is used in transformers. In the transformers, you will have two coils placed in close proximity, and in one coil a varying current is applied, and in the secondary coil you will have induced EMF. Right? When the first coil receives varying current, time varying current, it produces time varying flux, and this time varying flux links the conductors of the second coil, and there will be induced EMF in the second coil. That is the principle of transformer, and that is why I told you there are no rotating parts in the transformer. So neither first coil nor the second coil will move. Right? Okay. Now coming to the next point, if you keep the current supply to the coil constant, right? That means we are going to we will let us, if the current supply to the coil is not time varying, then it will produce a flux which will not vary with time, and hence the flux again is going to constant here, just like a flux produced by a permanent magnet. Now, if the conductor is moved in the field produced by this electromagnet, then the flux linking the conductor will change with time. Right? So then there will be an induced EMF in the conductor. If you join the two ends of the conductor by means of a wire and a bulb, the current passes through the bulb and the bulb will glow. Right? So here we are moving the conductor and keeping the electromagnet stationary. So the corresponding EMF that is induced in the conductor is again a dynamically induced EMF. Okay, I think I hope it is clear to all of you. Next, let us go and see the main parts of a DC machine. I told you in the beginning that a DC machine can be used as a DC generator as well as a DC motor, right? So when you give input electrical energy input to a DC machine, it gives mechanical energy as output. Then it is called electric motor. And if you give mechanical energy as input to the same machine, it will give you electrical energy as output, right? So let us see the main parts of the machine. You can see field poles are there. There are field poles, right? And over the poles, field winding is there, right? Through which we pass current so that the field pole acts as an electromagnet. The current supply to the field winding is kept constant, and then there is armature and armature winding. So this armature and armature winding are nothing but uh, this, that means this conductor which we kept in this field of electromagnet is called an armature. That means in the actual DC machine, not a single conductor, but you will have so many number of conductors connected in series, which is called a winding. That's why it is armature winding. It is called armature winding. Next, it is having some other parts. Shaft is there to support the armature, and a commutator is there used to uh, uh, it is having its particular function. We will discuss later in the coming classes. And supporting a outer frame called yoke, and as well as bearings are also there to support the rotating part, right? This armature is a rotating part. Other remaining things, field poles and field winding, are stationary here. So in the armature, I told you that there are conductors connected in series which will form a winding, right? That is called armature, that is supported by bearings at the end. So here the armature winding or the conductor is moving, and field poles are fitted to the outer frame of the machine. You can observe it in the figure, right? So the field that are magnet is kept constant, and the conductors are moved here in the DC generator, right? So the EMF generated in produced in the DC generator is a dynamically induced EMF. Is it clear? So you can observe so many number of poles are there in this generator. Next, this is the cross-sectional view of a generator, or from it is a view of the generator from one end of it, right? So in the inner circle is a armature, the outer circle is yoke, or it is also called a stationary part. Field is at a field poles 1, 2, 3, 4 are shown. The poles are shown with numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are fitted to the outer frame called yoke. So that is a stationary part. The inner circle, right, is there, right? That is a armature. You can observe a small dips in the circle of this inner circle, right? Those are called slots. Slots means slots for placing the conductors of the armature, right? All they are connected in different fashion, right? So that to form a particular winding, right? And this 1, 2, 3, and 4 numbered parts are field poles. They are called poles or field poles. You can observe the winding over the field poles, right? That is field winding. To this field winding, right, we have to provide some constant current so that these field poles will work as electromagnets, and hence they will produce magnetic flux, right? In this magnetic flux, this armature winding is rotated by means of a prime mover. It can be an engine or a turbine, right? So this inner rotating part, that is armature, is rotated in the field produced by these 4 volts. So while rotating, the conductors of the armature winding they are linking the flux, and when they are rotated, when the armature is rotated, the conductors the flux linking those conductors will change. That means we are creating a d by dt of flux, and there are already a certain number of conductors in the armature. So those conductors linking the flux, and that flux is that the linkage of the flux is changed when is changing when flux will not change actually. Because of the rotation, the flux lines or flux linking the conductors will change. As a result, you will have an EMF induced in all the conductors of the armature, right? So that is how a DC generator works, right? And these are the, and you can, I think the main parts you have understood. What are the main important parts, right? Let's move forward. And this is this slide I have kept to explain Fleming's right hand rule, right? So after explaining this, we will close, right? So this is a right hand of a person. You can observe the thumb and index finger and middle finger are kept mutually perpendicular to each other, just like X, Y, Z axis of a XYZ axis of our mathematics, right? So the thumb represents the direction of motion of conductor, and four index finger represents the direction of magnetic field, and middle finger represents direction of current. Okay, because we are since we are discussing the working principle of a generator, right? And whose for which mechanical energy is the input. That means we are going to give mechanical energy to the conductor, right? That means we are going to move the conductor in the magnetic field. So we have the magnetic field direction in the along with the index finger, and conductor is moved upward direction, in the upward direction. In the field, direction of field means the field lines are oriented from north pole towards south pole, right? So that is the direction shown by the index finger, right? Now in this flux, the conductor is moved from towards top, upward direction. The movement of the conductor is upward direction. Then the direction of current induced in the conductor, which is moved from bottom down to upper, is in the direction of the middle finger, right? So if you move a conductor vertically upwards, an EMF is induced in the direction of the middle finger shown in the slide, right? Thank you. I hope you understood this lecture, and let us see in the next lecture.